Begin with, I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land throughout Australia and pay my respect to the elders past and present. Among the historical approaches, Locke considers child a blank slate and that the minds are moldable that can be shaped through education, surroundings, observation, and experience. As an early childhood teacher, I can use this approach to intentionally shape the environment to promote learning and to develop self management among children through regular routine and adaptive behavior. And I can also do this by having a robust foundation and clear guidance. For example, this can be done by setting up daily evening routine to pack up the bags or toys or clean the area to help learn responsibility through repetition, and also by appreciating the efforts and positive actions of a child which can support social development. Next comes Rousseau's approach, who believed that children are naturally good and develop best by following their own interests freely with minimum interference and control. As an early childhood teacher, I can follow this approach to help understand the value of child's agency and empowerment by acting more like a facilitator rather than an instructor, and by prioritizing play-based practical learning as per the interests of the child and encouraging natural exploration and development. For example, the children are in an outdoor setting collecting flower petals and talking about colors. Instead of conducting a planned activity, I can switch it to reading books about flowers, making craft using flower petals to support their interest. Among the contemporary approaches is the Reggio Emilia approach, according to which a child is a capable learner who possesses 100 languages of expression, which can be drawing, music, painting, etc. Environment is the third teacher, and that documentation is the best learning tool. And also, it emphasizes on collaboration among children, families, and educators. As an early childhood teacher, I can follow this approach to value each child's unique abilities, interests, and creativity and understand that learning and communication happen in many ways, creating learning space as per the interests of the child intentionally, and then focusing on relationship building and documentation of child's experiences and journey. For example, a child asks questions about cats. As an early childhood teacher, I recognize the interest. I further extend it by telling cat stories, drawing and coloring cat pictures, creating cat inspired learning space with craft work, making new sounds, taking photos to document everything. Next comes the Montessori approach, in which a child is considered to be a self-motivated learner and that a well-organized learning space supports independence, and the role of educator is both as a guide as well as an observer. As an early childhood teacher, I can follow this approach to help understand the value of child's innate ability, curiosity to learn, and developmental timeline, and also to provide easy access to materials, especially the sensory materials, for example, Play-Doh, and to encourage child independence and intervene only when required. For example, a water activity can be organized where the material is kept at child's height for easy access. Child may choose to pour water from one glass to the other and spills a little water. In that case, I can wait for the child's response if reaches for a piece of cloth to wipe. Otherwise, I will offer it and allow the child to clean themselves. Among the early childhood theories, the one that I've selected is the Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory, which consists of four stages of cognitive development based upon the age groups. In the first one, which is sensory motor stage, learning takes place through senses and movements. In the pre-operational stage, symbolic thinking, self-centeredness, and centration comes into play. Concrete operational stage is when logical thinking begins. In the formal operational stage, abstract thinking, systematic problem solving are the main points of focus as per Piaget. As an early childhood teacher, I can use this theory to help understand that young children think in a different way from adults and acknowledge that learning is best using play, stories, and hands-on experiences. For example, to help children move to the logical thinking, I can engage children in repeated playful experiments involving pouring of water in tall and short glass to explain the concept that both hold same amount of water as they think that there is more water in the tall glass. Next comes one of the most interesting theories by Vygotsky, which is sociocultural theory of cognitive development. He focuses on zone of proximal development, which is the gap between what a child can do independently and what they can do with help. According to him, learning happens the best within this zone. He also focuses on scaffolding, which is a temporary support given by an adult or a more capable peer. He also lay emphasis on the concept of social interaction. As an early childhood teacher, this theory can help me to understand that learning is best with guidance or support, and that there is importance of peer collaboration, social engagement, and thoughtful scaffolding. For example, two children are building a tower with blocks which keeps on collapsing. In this situation, I can step in and ask, why don't you try bigger blocks first and then the smaller ones on the top? I can then step back, let the children follow the suggestion, and continue building without further help. Most importantly, earliest learning framework has a great role to play in early childhood setting. It consists of vision, principles, practices, and learning outcomes. As an early childhood teacher, this framework can help me to understand the value of each child's identity, background, learning style, and to visualize a child as competent, capable, and active participant, and to focus on the overall development of the child. For example, I can support meaningful learning across different EYLF learning outcomes by following a child's natural interests and desires. The National Quality Standard sets a national benchmark for early childhood education and care. It includes 7 quality areas. As an early childhood teacher, this framework can help me to understand the importance of child's physical and emotional well-being, qualified professional staff, engaging with families and communities, effective leadership, compliance with policies, responsive and personalized educational programs, safe, reviving environment that supports play-based learning. As an example, a child cries every day during the drop of time. In this situation, I can support the child by building secure relationship and aligning morning routine with interests of the child. It aligns with the quality area 5, 1, and 2. These are the references. Thank you.